Hey, business owners, big welcome to this Futurise Your Business series of interviews I have been doing recently. I have a very special guest today. This person has attended Disruption very recently, spent a lot of time not only speaking to us, but meeting us individually, understanding our issues, and she spent a great deal of time with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Australian Minister for Employment, Skills, Small and Family Business, the Senator, the Honourable Michaelia Cash. Minister, big welcome.
And Dinesh, it is fabulous to be with you. And I have to say, that Bizruption event that we did together, absolutely amazing. And 10 out of 10 to you and netStripes for putting it together, because what an amazing event. I think there's about 200 people in that room all talking about the positivity of small business. So congratulations, and I cannot wait to do our next one in person.
Look, it was great having you. You were one of our most popular guest speakers there. As you saw, they waited till the end to speak with you. But you spent a lot of time, and I think everyone appreciated that. Look, Minister, these are tough times for everyone. But I think you hold one of the most important portfolios in the government right now as the Minister for Employment, Minister for Skills and Small Business. What are the biggest issues you are seeing during these times, and what action is being taken?
Well, Dinesh, as we know, COVID-19, it is one of the greatest hits to our economy that we will ever see. And certainly from the perspective of small and family business, I mean, for me, what are they telling me? The loss of income in terms of having to close down their businesses, that has been a huge challenge for them. And in particular, not having that cash flow that they so desperately rely on. But in turn, what does that lead to? Obviously, it's the struggle to keep their staff. And, small and family businesses, they're passionate about their staff. Their staff are their family members, or they're treated as if they're their family members. So, that loss of income, the resultant impact on cash flow, and then that inability to keep their staff, that has really weighed heavily on so many, millions of small and family businesses across Australia. So look, what action has been taken by the government? Well, as you know, it's a $320 billion response package that we've put in place. But the key element for small and family businesses has been access to the government's $130 billion JobKeeper package. And just to give you some updated statistics, as at the 15th of May, I'd like to thank the in excess of 860,000 businesses that enrolled for JobKeeper, because they've given that really important lifetime, that connectivity to their business, to around 6.1 million Australians. That is a really fantastic thing for those small and family businesses in particular to have done. Look, there are several other measures that, as you know, we've put in place. And in particular, a really big one that I've received feedback from, really positive feedback, is that cash flow measure for small business. Yes. So that was the up to $100,000 with the minimum payment over the 2 financial years of $20,000. And just in terms of the number of small businesses that are now accessing that measure, we've had around 450,000 businesses are now accessing over $8 billion in cash flow assistance. So we are seeing that money get out to the businesses that so desperately need it. And I know a lot of people have asked me about, has anybody got access to the SME, up to 50% guarantee of new unsecured loans up to $250,000? And the answer is yes. We've now seen around $1 billion in loans approved, and that's gone to around 11,000 businesses. So again, we're seeing the money start flowing to businesses that so desperately need it at this time.
Minister, thank you for that. Absolutely, the JobKeeper program and all those other initiatives have certainly saved jobs, but also saved businesses in a very short time during a very critical juncture in our country's history. As we all know, I hate using the word unprecedented, but there have been unprecedented.
Totally. What is it? What do they say? A 1 in 100-year event.
Absolutely. And what we see is there has been an unprecedented amount of support and recognition of small and medium businesses during these times. And this has been from all parts of government. We have not seen such visibility in the past. What has changed?
Well, as you say, this is an unprecedented event, COVID-19. It has impacted the global economy, a global pandemic, a 1 in a 100-year event. And as such, the government's response has had to be one that is of almost equal, impact and significance. And why have we given so much support to small and family business? Because as you know, they are the backbone of the Australian economy. We've got 3.5 million small businesses, making up more than 99% of all businesses in Australia. They employ around 6.1 million workers, and they offer a substantial contribution to GDP. When we say that they are the backbone of the Australian economy, I mean, those figures alone, they show you that they are. And so the government has had to give that unprecedented level of support to the backbone of the Australian economy. I mean, they are doing it so tough at the moment. We've had government mandated closures of businesses. These businesses, they didn't want to close.
Yes.
But they had to close because as a government, we had to tackle that war on the health front, and we have done that successfully. But as the Prime Minister now acknowledges, we now need to tackle the war on the unemployment front. We need to get those businesses back into business so that they can re-employ or bring back into the workforce those employees which they have on JobKeeper. Yes. And we want to see as many small and family businesses get back up and running as soon as possible. Absolutely,
Minister. The Aussie businesses, as I said, a resilient bunch. I think I said that just before as we started this interview, while lots of businesses are hurting. The Prime Minister said this when he launched the JobKeeper program. He said that every business must rethink their business model. How do you think business owners must reinvent themselves for them to move forward post-COVID?
Look, it's a really good question. And small businesses, they do need to rethink their business models going forward because we've had such a change to the way we do work. And in particular, when you look at the impact overnight of digitisation and access to technology generally, this is now going to play that ever increasing role in driving economic growth and investment. And in particular, when you look at those businesses that were able to survive, why? Because they had that capacity to adapt overnight. And in particular, if you look at, say, the hospitality sector, how did you, as a small business, adapt overnight? It was your business model. They literally went to that online presence, showing me what your menu was. I could go online, I could order my food, and I could have it delivered. But what it also showed was those businesses who didn't have that access to technology, who hadn't digitised, they did not have that same capacity to adapt. So from my perspective, we're moving into a new way of doing things. We're moving into that new COVID-safe economy, and that access to digital, that access to technology is just going to be so important going forward, because I think it was that clear delineation almost between those who had the ability to adapt, had the ability overnight to bring in that adaptation. They are the ones that we've seen to date survive. And with the reopening of the economy. What you've also seen is they've been able to communicate with their stakeholders, with their customers, with their clientele again overnight. This is what we're doing as of tomorrow. Come on down. So I think that really goes to the heart of what you do. Digitization, access to technology, what you and I have spoken about on so many previous occasions. You do need to rethink your business model, and you've really got to ask yourself, am I ready for this new post-COVID-19 economy? And if not, what do I need to do so my business can compete on a level playing field with other businesses?
We have seen quite a few small to medium businesses who had built that digital infrastructure you're speaking about, making those pivots really quickly. We have seen cafes, we have seen gyms, we have even seen little craft brewery centers, or they call themselves brew cafes, who've done that beautifully. And in fact, they've pivoted in a way that their businesses are now doing better.
You and I had spoken about, the trainers, the gyms, etc. I mean, they were closed down overnight. And when you think about it as a consumer, hold on, I'm used to getting up in the morning, putting on my jogging clothes and going to my gym. How do I even conceive that I might do it in a different way? And yet, so many of them have been so successful in literally doing this, the Zoom online training at home. And how many people literally adapted overnight because they wanted to continue the exercise. They wanted to still have that one-on-one instruction. And with technology, all of those gym owners, they were literally able to adapt overnight. That is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. And the business I was talking about, you may remember MC at Disruption, Sonia Ray.
Yes.
And she had tripled her business when you met her and the Sydney Morning Herald had featured her. And now her business has gone to yet another level because she was able to pivot very fast.
And that shows you, doesn't it? If you have access to that technology, and and it's not even just the access to technology, is it? It's, can I pivot rapidly?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that you make a really good point there. It's about being able, it used to be survival of the fittest, and I think it's now the survival of the fastest to adapt. And I think you made some really good points all that comments you made. This brings me to my next question, which is, what are the biggest challenges you see small and family businesses will have to overcome post-COVID?
Look, Dinesh, I think two have really come to light over the last few weeks. And the first is obviously, we are going to be living with the virus, and we can never forget that. So when we talk about the COVID-safe economy or the COVID-19 safe economy, this is all about understanding. We will reopen up Australia. People's businesses will get back to business, but we will be living with the virus. The virus is not going anywhere until we find a vaccine. So for small and family businesses, they really need to get that understanding of, what is my obligation as a business? What is my obligation as an employer? What obligations do I have to my customers, to my employees? And to be able to understand that, you really do need to go to Safe Work Australia, because remember, Safe Work Australia is now the authoritative source in terms of, what do I need to do for my industry? Have a look at your industry and then ask the relevant questions. What do I need to do to get a safe COVID-safe work plan? Have I downloaded the COVID-safe app as a business? Because it's not just about reopening your business. It's not just about going back into business. It's understanding, what is the COVID-safe environment for my business? What are my obligations as an employer, and do I understand them? And have I actually put that COVID-safe plan? Is it activated within my workplace? But after that, cash flow. Cash flow.
Yes.
Cash flow is king for small and family businesses, and certainly from the government's perspective, it's that understanding of, are they being paid on time? And I personally believe that, anything over 30 days is unacceptable.
Yes.
So I think that we really need to continue to highlight why paying small businesses on time is just so important, not just to them, but to the Australian economy. But also, we've talked about having access to technology.
Yes.
We've talked about digitisation. And for those small businesses who don't have that ability to e-invoice, you really need to understand what you need to do to get that in place. Because just say you're the business and I'm your supplier. I do the work for you. I invoice you by e-invoice you that afternoon. Why can't you pay me?
Yes.
Why can't you pay me? 7 days or less, 5 days or less. So I think it's that, again, we go back to that understanding of the impact of digitisation and technology on my business and the advantages. But from that government's perspective, understanding why and ensuring that businesses are paid promptly and on time is just so important.
Thank you so much. And you're absolutely correct. Buyers have to stop thinking of their suppliers as their banks. And I think it's this culture that we have to change. It's a cultural shift in our payment patterns that we have to change. You spoke about digitization, but digitization will certainly improve it big time. However, I think you mentioned about big business. It also works with government and all levels of government. I think we can create a cultural shift that will benefit.
And government in particular, I'm a big believer that governments must lead by example. So we've already introduced a payment policy. We will now pay all invoices for contracts up to $1 million within 20 calendar days. You just have, as a government, you need to lead by example, and that is just so important. But also, if you can e-invoice the government, so your system and my system talk to one another, we'll pay you within 5 days, and if we don't, we'll pay interest on any accrued days. You've got to set an example for everybody else as government.
And I spoke about the portfolios you carry and the importance of that for the resurgence of this economy post-COVID. What vision do you have for resurgence of SMEs moving forward, Minister?
Well, yet again, business is the backbone of the community, especially small and family businesses. And the Prime Minister's been pretty upfront. The COVID-19 recovery does need to be led by business. Why? Because, as you know, governments don't create jobs. Businesses do. Employers do. Governments put in place that policy framework that businesses then have to operate under. So we need to ensure that businesses are operating in a policy framework that enables them again to prosper, to grow, and to create more jobs for Australians. So very much the focus on the government is going to be cutting red tape. I mean, red tape is just an impediment to doing business. So identifying even more red tape that we need to cut. We've been pretty upfront. The post-COVID-19 recovery will not involve new taxes. I'm from that side of politics that fundamentally believes you do not tax yourself to prosperity. Again, so very much looking at that red tape, looking at, what more we can do to unleash the power of dynamic, innovative and open markets. They must be central to the recovery, with businesses leading job creation, not government.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Minister, I know you're a big supporter of small business. We met you, so we know you and we understand your passion for small business. What more can the government do, and governments in general do, to make sure small businesses are part of government contracts? For just too long, it has been the domain of big business, as you know.
Yep, it's a great question, and it's one that I get asked on a regular basis. So, okay, if you're a small business out there today and you're listening in and you want to supply to government, you can register online as a user on the Oz Tender website. So free registration. what you need to do is go to tenders.gov.au, because we actually need to know you're out there, okay? So in the first instance, we need you to go online and we need to register. So once you've registered, what the site automatically does is it matches business opportunities with the areas of interest that you have identified, and obviously based on the profile of your business. What then happens is we'll actually send you email notifications when opportunities are advertised. So you do need to go on and register though. That's the most important thing. We also have the Selling to Government website. Now, you go to sellingtogov.finance.gov.au, and what this will do is it provides information and support for businesses to better understand, I've got something really great. I'd like to sell it to government, but how do I do it? If you go to Selling to Government website, it will take you through what you need to do, and it will assist you in identifying opportunities. Now, I'm really passionate, again, as I said before, government must lead by example. So we've put in place a commitment, and it's an official commitment, to procure at least 10% of contracts by value from SMEs and 35% by value of all contracts up to $20 million. So just to give you the real life statistics, in 2018-19, SMEs were awarded $16.7 billion worth of contracts. This actually was an increase of $3.8 billion from the previous financial year. So if you are a small business out there or an SME, you want to find out what's going on, go on to tenders.gov.au, register your business. But if you're interested in selling to government, sellingtogov.finance.gov.au, and we already have in place these specific procurement targets, because like you, Dinesh, I believe small and family, you've got fabulous products, but unless you know how to do it, and that's why we've got the tools available, and we've got the specific procurement targets to ensure that as government, we are working with small business.
Minister, thank you for sharing. Business owners, I think there was a wealth of information out there for all of you, all of us, in fact, as I think we can be all grateful to the Minister for knowing all the details, so that she even knows the website addresses and she shared them with us. So thank you for doing that. And I think everyone listening would appreciate that. Absolutely, Minister. You know, I think this is a bit of feedback for you. I think ministers, I think the senior policymakers of government, politicians really have great intentions of making sure these programs are put in place. However, I think in the execution of these, sometimes in the bureaucracy, the red tape in the implementation sometimes impacts small businesses. As you know, small businesses don't have a lot of resources, and when red tape and there is significant red tape, and it becomes an issue for small business. So that's my only piece of feedback, so that, and I'm sure you're aware of that, because, and I think business owners understand the great intentions ministers of your caliber have for small business. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. Minister, I have just one last question and more fun questions.
Okay.
Do you have any parting words for the 12,000 strong disruption community as we close this?
Just thank you so much for the opportunity to talk directly with you. You are the backbone of the Australian community. I am humbled in my role as the Minister for Small and Family Business every day with the people that I meet, what they're doing, and how they literally are the lifeblood of communities around Australia. What I want to say to you is, you are doing it tough. and the government knows you are doing it tough. We are here to assist you and to put in place those policies that will get you through COVID-19 and will see you emerge, I really, really hope, stronger on the other side. I just want to thank you for everything that you have done, for everything that you do, but more than that, for everything that I know you will continue to do to serve the Australian community and to give people what I think is one of the greatest things you can do, the dignity of work. So on behalf of the Prime Minister, who is also a passionate advocate for small and family businesses across Australia, thank you. We've got your back, but it is so important that we continue to have this dialogue so that we can work with you to ensure that we all get to the other side.
Minister, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I know you speak from your heart and you always do, and that's what people appreciate. Hopefully, community, the people who didn't attend Disruption, when you came, all of them will get to know you. More small and medium businesses will know your passion through this interview for small business, and your parting words were absolutely sincere, and we thank you for that. But I can't let you go without this community getting to know a bit more about you. Okay. So I have a few questions. They won't take more than a couple of minutes. Are you ready for them?
Up close and personal, I'm ready. Okay.
Okay, they're going to be pretty quick, okay?
Okay.
So your favorite person?
Oh, my favorite person. I don't have a favorite person. My family are my favorite group of people, and obviously my husband, who is my greatest support. I could not do this job without the love and support and the putting up with me that my husband does.
Fantastic. Your favorite city?
Hey, I'm a Western Australian girl, born and bred. I genuinely get up every single morning, and I'm so lucky. I've had the opportunity to undertake extensive travelling. I get up in the morning and I say to myself, thank you, Lord, for letting me live in the greatest country, in the greatest state, in the greatest city in the world. And that is, of course, Perth, Western Australia.
Fantastic. We won't hold that against you, certainly not. We always thought Sydney was, and the Melburnians think it's Melbourne.
Well, I love Sydney.
There you go. The most memorable moment for you?
The most memorable moment, I think it was when I was actually pre-selected for this role, because you never know, are you going to be pre-selected? And when I was pre-selected in 2007, or 2006 actually, I genuinely thought to myself, you have just been pre-selected for what is going to be the biggest privilege, the greatest privilege that you could ever have, serving Western Australians in the Australian Senate. And for me, I still get goosebumps every time I think of that moment that my pre-selection committee bestowed on me this privilege. And every day I get up and I just say thank you, because I love what I do, but I'll never underestimate and I'll never forget that it is the greatest privilege that you can ever have, serving the people of Australia.
Thank you. The song you've loved most?
Oh, Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive, especially in politics. It's a great karaoke song, but also the lyrics, I will survive. I love it.
There you go. Good for COVID, right? And that's all what we have to do. Biggest achievement?
Oh, my biggest achievement. I'd probably say, and depending on what it is, but it's my fabulous family and the relationship that I have with them. And in particular, being someone who lives for so many months of the year in another part of the world, certainly having the strong relationship that I have with my husband. To me, family is everything, stability is everything, and they are my rock and my foundation. And that really, to me, despite everything else, I've had some amazing opportunities in life, but I think if you can say that your family, and in particular the relationship that you have with the person that you married, that's my greatest achievement.
Fantastic. 3 things you hate.
3 things that I hate. I hate people who don't like cats. I don't have children, but I have 3 cats. So if you don't like cats, I am renowned as a passionate person. So I really find that if you don't have passion, you're probably going to find that I'm too much. But after that, I'm not a hater in life. I'm someone who gets up every day and who just appreciates the opportunities that she has.
Fabulous. The 3 things you love the most.
The 3 things I love. I love my cats. I adore my cats. I don't have children. I am known as being sort of, that person who's a bit of a crazy cat lady. So I love my cats every day. I love the opportunities that I have. I will never underestimate the opportunities that I have. And one of my greatest privileges in life, quite frankly, is being the Minister for Small and Family Business, because I don't think there's a day that goes past that I don't meet someone or speak to someone who is just doing incredible things. And I say to myself, wow, I've had that privilege again to meet someone or speak to them. How lucky am I?
Fantastic. What stumps you?
What stumps me? That's a very good question. This question stumped me. There you go. This question stumped me. And when you asked me previously what was my favourite movie and I had nothing to say to you, I've actually thought of something though, okay, Dinesh? I've now thought of something. My favourite movie, The Sound of Music.
Oh, beautiful.
What can I say? The Sound of Music. I can't believe that I couldn't remember that when you asked me before. The Sound of Music.
There you go. So the best advice you can give a loved one?
The best advice you can give a loved one, I think, is that it just doesn't matter. We're always going to be there for you. You're not judged. It doesn't matter what you do in life. You should always know, and I say this to my brother and my sister, and in particular to my niece and my nephews. I say to them, I just don't care what it is. As long as I know that you know, A, that you're loved, but B, that you can pick up the phone to me at any time of the day, on any day of the week, and I will always be there for you.
Minister, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. It has been an absolute pleasure to interview you today. I know you have been extremely busy, and that would be an understatement. I know you were at a meeting with the Prime Minister just before this meeting as well, and these are trying times. So really appreciate you being so sincere and forthright in your answers. Minister,
fabulous to be with you,
much.
And I cannot wait until we meet again, actually in person, and we do another fabulous Bizruption event.
We would love to have you, and that invitation will be on its way as soon as all this is done.
Thank you, Dinesh. And thank you to all of everybody for listening in today.